Beatles, the Hollies, Sinatra, the Kinks and more share this week's top 10 from 1966. But who had that all-important number 1? Let's jump into this week's chart and find out. At number 10 is Dave, Dee, Dozy, Beaky, Mick and Titch with Hideaway. This upbeat little pop rock number was the 5th single from the band formed in Salisbury, England. This track didn't quite hit the heights of their last offering Hold Tight though, which reached number 4, but stalled here at its peak in the number 10 position. It spent 3 weeks in the top 10 and 10 weeks in the top 40. At number 9 is Percy Sledge with When a Man Loves a Woman. This classic soul ballad was the Alabamian singer's debut single and his biggest ever hit, scoring the number 1 on the US Billboard 100. It only peaked at number 4 in the UK though, but spent a solid 6 weeks in the top 10 and 14 weeks in the top 40. At number 8 is Cilla Black with Don't Answer Me. This emotional ballad by the Scouse singer was originally an Italian song written the year before for Donatella Moretti called Te Vedo Uscire.
I tell myself I've got to know.
Cilla's version was on its way down the chart here after peaking at number 6 last week. It spent 3 weeks in the top 10 and 10 weeks in the top 40. At number 7 is Georgie Fame and the Blue Flames with Getaway.
Don't mind the weather, girl. Let's take a ride.
This jazzy R&B song by the Lancashire singer was originally written as a happy jingle for a petrol advert and was later reworked into this upbeat single.
Gotta go. Get away.
It was on its way up the chart here and would go on to hit the number 1 spot in 2 weeks' time.
Not a cloud to be seen in the sky.
It was Georgie's second number 1 of 3 throughout his career. The track had a decent 5 weeks in the top 10 and 10 weeks in the top 40.
About tomorrow, you can live today.
I've often wondered why they don't use real people on television advertisements instead of a load of old actors and models dancing about the place. I went round to Watney's the other day and said, "Excuse me, I'm a dynamic, compelling, real person. I'll be willing to appear on television for you and say, Watney's pale is cool, clear ale. Watney's brown, drink it down." "Oh, would you?" they said, and chucked a crate of empties at me. I can't understand Watney's attitude.
At number 6 is the Hollies with Bus Stop. This extremely catchy pop rock song from the Manchester band was climbing up the chart here. It hit its peak position next week when it climbed 1 place to number 5, and it was also the Hollies' first appearance in the top 10 of the Billboard Top 100, where it also peaked at number 5. It spent 4 weeks in the top 10 and 9 weeks in the top 40. And at number 5 is Frank Sinatra with Strangers in the Night. This classic pop ballad by the American crooner was originally written as an instrumental piece for the film A Man Could Get Killed by composer and producer Burt Kaempfert, who some of you may know is the person who hired the young Hamburg-era Beatles in 1961 to back Tony Sheridan for his album My Bonnie.
In your eyes was so inviting.
Sinatra was on his way down the chart here after enjoying 3 weeks at number 1 with the track a few weeks earlier. It spent a healthy 8 weeks in the top 10 and an impressive 19 weeks in the top 40. At number 4 is Gene Pitney with Nobody Needs Your Love.
That I be what you want me to be.
This catchy and surprisingly upbeat track from Pitney was written by Randy Newman of Randy Newman fame.
I just can't get through to you.
It was a Europe-only release and managed to peak at number 2 next week.
Oh, are you tired?
It spent 4 weeks in the top 10, but a slightly better 12 weeks in the top 40.
What makes this can of salmon the best? These, the ones that aren't good enough. For John West, it's a fact that of all salmon canned, only 1 in 8 is really top quality. And it's only from this top quality that John West select their middle cut brand. Next time you buy salmon, and make it soon, remember it's the fish John West reject that makes John West the best. And that's true of skippers, crab, and all these fine products. Insist on the best and buy John West.
At number 3 is Ike and Tina Turner with River Deep Mountain High. This driving, energetic soul banger was co-written and produced by the one and only Phil Spector. It was Ike and Tina's biggest hit in the UK, where the track peaked here at number 3 for 2 weeks. Somehow it only reached number 88 in the US though. It spent a respectable 6 weeks in the top 10 and 12 weeks in the top 40 in total. At number 2 is The Beatles with Paperback Writer. This riff-tastic rocker from the Liverpool band was on its way down the chart this week after becoming their 10th UK number 1 single a couple of weeks back. It enjoyed 2 weeks in the top spot before being dethroned by one of their southern contemporaries. More on that next. It spent an average 5 weeks in the top 10 and 10 weeks in the top 40.
Now, McLean says whiteness in 2 refreshing flavors. Regular McLean's and new cool Spearmint McLean's. 2 wonderful ways to whiteness. The tastes are excitingly different, but the smile's the same. Zingy regular McLean's, new cool Spearmint McLean's. Now McLean says whiteness in 2 refreshing flavors.
And at number 1 this week is The Kinks with Sunny Afternoon. This very catchy but ominous sounding pop rock track was written by the older Davies brother Ray and was the band's 3rd and final number 1 single of their career. It managed to knock the Beatles' Paperback Writer off the top spot, then camp out at number 1 for 2 consecutive weeks. It secured a very decent 7 weeks in the top 10 and 13 weeks in the top 40. And the song at number 1 in America this week is Paperback Writer by those cheeky chappies from Liverpool again, the Beatles. This was the Fab Four's 2nd non-consecutive week in the number 1 position, being temporarily bumped by Frank Sinatra's Strangers in the Night for 1 week only. And so for my hidden gem from the rest of the chart this week, I was torn between choosing Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones and Sloop John B by the Beach Boys. But I'm leaning towards a more upbeat vibe at the moment, so the Beach Boys it is. What can I say about this track really? It's all harmonies and melody, and despite its slightly depressing lyrics, the song has an unstoppably uplifting feel to it that gets in your blood and just cheers you up instantly. A true pop classic. And that's it for this week's chart. What was your favourite song from this week's top 10? And what would you have chosen as your hidden gem from the rest of the chart? I'll leave the link in the description as usual, so you can have a look. And until next time, pop travellers, take care and peace.
Happiness is a cigar called Hamlet, the mild cigar from Benson and Hedges.